It was an ordinary morning in Fernley, Nevada. 18-year-old Naomi Irion sat quietly in her car, scrolling through her phone, waiting for the shuttle that would take her to her job at the Panasonic factory in Reno. It was March 12, 2022, a cold, silent dawn, and the Walmart parking lot where she waited was almost empty. She had done this routine every morning. Same car, same spot, same time. But what she didn't know was that, this time, someone was watching. Within minutes, a shadowy figure would walk up to her driver's side door. Within seconds, she would vanish. And the entire town of Fernley would never be the same again. Naomi Irion was just beginning her adult life. She had recently moved to Nevada from South Africa to live with her older brother, a U.S. Navy veteran. She was described by friends and family as adventurous, independent, and full of energy. She loved photography, travel, and exploring new cultures. To those who knew her, Naomi was the type of person who could light up a room, someone who saw the good in everyone. But on that morning, as she sat in her car before sunrise, that kindness and trust would be met by something unspeakably evil. Security cameras later showed Naomi at 5:09 a.m., sitting inside her car. Moments later, a man dressed in dark clothing, wearing a hoodie, walked directly toward her vehicle. Without hesitation, he opened the driver's side door and climbed inside. Within seconds, Naomi's car rolled out of the Walmart parking lot and disappeared into the darkness. It was chilling, fast, and silent. No screams, no witnesses, just grainy footage of an abduction happening in plain sight. When Naomi didn't show up for work, her brother Casey immediately knew something was wrong. He tried calling her phone, no answer. Hours passed. Her friends hadn't heard from her either. By evening, the fear began to grow. This wasn't like Naomi. She was punctual and responsible. Casey filed a missing persons report that same day, setting off one of the largest searches in Lyon County history. Detectives reviewed surveillance footage and quickly discovered Naomi's car abandoned in an industrial area nearby. Inside the car, investigators found disturbing signs of foul play, evidence suggesting that whatever happened to Naomi, it wasn't voluntary. The next days were agonizing for her family. Volunteers, police officers, and even strangers searched the Nevada desert. Flyers covered telephone poles. Social media exploded with posts about Naomi's disappearance. The case spread beyond Nevada, with people across the country joining the search. But even with all that effort, there were no clues until detectives finally found what they were looking for. A man caught on camera in the Walmart parking lot the morning Naomi vanished. That man was later identified as 41-year-old Troy Driver, a construction worker living in the nearby town of Fallon, Nevada. His criminal history was disturbing. Decades earlier, he had been involved in a violent kidnapping and the cover-up of a murder. The past was now repeating itself. Police executed search warrants at his home and seized his truck, which matched the description of a vehicle seen near Naomi's abandoned car. The community, already shaken, now had a face to the fear that had been haunting them for weeks. Investigators spent days retracing Naomi's final movements. They tracked phone signals, examined tire marks, and dug into Troy Driver's background. Each clue pointed towards something horrifying. On March 29, 2022, 17 days after she vanished, the search came to an end. In a remote desert area of Churchill County, investigators discovered human remains buried in a shallow grave. The remains were later confirmed to be Naomi Irion. Her family's worst fears had come true. The bright, kind young woman they loved was gone forever. The arrest of Troy Driver brought a brief sense of relief. Justice, it seemed, might finally come. He was charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, robbery, and evidence tampering. Prosecutors described the case as one of calculated violence. But before the trial could even begin, in August 2023, Troy Driver was found dead in his jail cell. The official cause, suicide. With his death, the truth behind Naomi's final moments, what exactly happened in those terrifying hours after she was taken, died with him. For her family, it was another cruel twist in a story already filled with pain. Naomi's brother, Casey, later said in interviews that his sister was a strong person, someone who always believed the world could be kind. Her death shattered that belief for many people. The case became a national reminder that danger doesn't always hide in dark alleys or distant places. Sometimes it hides in the places we think are safe: a grocery store parking lot, a bus stop, the space right outside your home. Naomi's story forced communities to ask difficult questions about safety, awareness, and trust. In Fernley, residents held vigils and candlelight memorials to honor her memory. Hundreds gathered to release lanterns into the sky, one for each day she had been missing. Her family created the Justice for Naomi Foundation, aimed at supporting other families of missing persons and spreading awareness about safety in public spaces. They wanted her name to stand for something more than tragedy. They wanted it to represent change. Naomi's case also reignited a discussion about surveillance systems, emergency response times, and women's safety in rural America. Many asked how someone could be abducted in broad view of a security camera and still not be saved. Others questioned whether authorities acted quickly enough. But through all the anger and heartbreak, one message remained clear. Naomi deserved better, and her story deserves to be told. In the end, Naomi Irion's story is not just a true crime case. It's a human story. It's about a young woman who was taken too soon, a family that never stopped searching, and a community that learned how fragile safety can be. It's about how evil can hide behind ordinary faces, and how, even in tragedy, compassion can rise from pain. Her story reminds us that awareness isn't fear, it's survival, and that sometimes justice doesn't come from a courtroom, but from remembering the victims and ensuring their stories are never forgotten. This is Bad Files, and this was a tragic case of Naomi Irion, the girl who vanished in plain sight. Stay aware, stay safe, and remember, the world hides more stories like this one, waiting to be uncovered